are these people?
So like we said earlier, Biden formally announced his reelection plans for next year yesterday on the Twitter. Um, and he put out a 3-minute clip. And when I watched it, and I said this, I'm either going to rage or just cry.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of you saw it, but if you have, I'm sorry. But for those of you who haven't, I can't even say enjoy it, but
Yeah.
just play it, please.
Come on, man.
It's not good, but
So I had to do this. There we go.
yes, you do.
And then here, and then
Yes, you
play.
do.
Do I need to go back in time?
I think so. No, not for this.
Oh.
Freedom. Personal freedom is fundamental to who we are as Americans. There's nothing more important, nothing more sacred. That's been the work of my first term, to fight for our democracy. This shouldn't be a red or blue issue. To protect our rights, to make sure that everyone in this country is treated equally and that everyone is given a fair shot at making it. But you know, around the country, MAGA extremists are lining up to take on those bedrock freedoms, cutting Social Security that you paid for your entire life while cutting taxes for the very wealthy.
Okay, already,
Yeah.
cutting Social Security when he definitely supported cutting Social Security quite a few times. Okay.
Wealthy, dictating what healthcare decisions women can make, banning books, and telling people who they can love, all while making it more difficult for you to be able to vote.
Pause. Vote for them.
Yes.
Vote for them. That's what he didn't say.
Yep. Here at the Democratic Party, we give great hugs, unlike those other party members who give terrible hugs.
When I ran for president 4 years ago, I said we're in a battle.
Fizzy Pop asks, where's Hunter? He's too busy trying to make ethics violation requests against other people. That's what he's doing.
For the soul of America, and we still are.
On Marjorie Taylor Greene.
The question we're facing is whether in the years ahead we have more freedom or less freedom, more rights or fewer. I know what I want the answer to be, and I think you do too. This is not a time to be complacent.
Man,
that's why I'm running for re-election.
AI audio is getting
because I
really
know
good.
America.
These AI videos are doing well.
I know we're good and decent people. I know we're still a country that believes in honesty and respect and treating each other with dignity. That we're a nation where we give hate no safe harbor. We believe that everyone is equal, that everyone should be given a fair shot to succeed in this country.
Thank you for choosing us.
Every generation of Americans has faced a moment when they have to defend democracy. Stand up for our personal freedom. Stand up for the right to vote and our civil rights.
You can barely stand without falling over. Continue.
And this is our moment.
That was that church we know all too well.
Yes.
That he just scrolled by. While he's silencing people.
So if you're with me, go to joebiden.com and sign up.
That's Joe Biden 33030.
Let's finish this job. I know we can. Because this is the United States of America. There's nothing, simply nothing we cannot do if we do it together.
That's the campaign shit, is let's finish the job. What job did you start?
Exactly. Like, no policies at all. He didn't talk about anything, and there's probably reason for that. Because what shit did he accomplish in his first term that deserves to finish. He didn't. I can argue.
Well, if we
didn't start anything.
if we remember,
You have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
that's I remember that.
I remember that.
I remember that.
That's the only way you can find room to pay for it.
That's when he wanted to cut Social Security.
Right.
So what job is he finishing? I mean,
well, you know what? Maybe Zeke Miller can give us some more. Maybe Zeke Miller can help us figure this out because
cool.
So AP actually this is probably one of the few podcasts we've done, episodes that we've done that we actually mostly, I believe, are using more mainstream sources. So Brad, sorry Brad, I saw your message, but you did say by finishing the job he means well, yeah. That's probably definitely what he means. Let's see though if Zeke has anything to add to this. So Biden announces 2024 re-election bid. Let's finish this job. So Zeke writes. No, we're not going to see that. There we go. President Joe Biden yesterday formally announced that he is running for re-election in 2024, asking voters to give him one more time to finish this job and extend the run of America's oldest president for another 4 years. Biden, who will be 86 at the end of his second term, is betting his first-term legislative achievements and more than 50 years of experience in Washington will count for more than concerns over his age. He plans a smooth path to winning his party's nomination with no serious Democratic challengers. And you're going to go into that next segment.
Yep.
Because he's done some shit already to make that so.
Yep.
And I'm sure you guys are smart that you also know what he did.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, but he's still set for a hard-fought struggle to retain the presidency in a bitterly divided nation. In his first public appearance yesterday since the announcement, Biden offered a preview of how he plans to navigate the dual roles of president and presidential candidate, using a speech to building trade union members to highlight his accomplishments and undercut his GOP rivals while showing voters he remained focused on his day job.
Union fucking... He fucking got them to... Whatever. Like he fucking is a strike killer, straight up. He killed the strike.
Right. But actually you make a good point. He brought union members to his speech. Where's the solidarity?
Right.
Did we forget what happened to the railroad workers a couple of months ago? Like, anyway, this is the argument that people are saying that there's not going to be a revolution in this country at all because there is no solidarity amongst labor.
Greeted with chants of "Let's go, Joe" from a raucous crowd of building trade union. Like, oh my god. Anyway, paid actors. They mean
right. A key base of Democratic support.
It's why they pander to them.
Biden showcased the tens of thousands of construction jobs being created since he took office that are supported by legislation he signed into law. Can we ask which one?
Wrong.
Can we ask which one?
Wrong. Like, no.
We, you and I, together, we're turning things around and we're doing it in a big way. Biden said, it's time to finish the job. Finish the job. Biden's campaign announcement, which we just saw, comes on the 4-year anniversary of when he declared for the White House in 2019, promising to heal the soul of a nation amid the turbulent presidency of Donald Trump, a goal that has remained elusive. Yeah. I said we are in battle for the soul of America, and we still are, Biden said. The question we are facing is whether in the years ahead we have more freedom or less freedom, more rights or fewer. We have less under you now. We don't have abortion rights anymore. We're still not able to vote for independent parties, for party candidates
Right.
because Democrats have actively worked to get them off ballots in states.
Yeah.
That's just a couple of things that I thought of in terms of like
In like
less
2 seconds.
freedom. And yeah. So, but anyway, while the prospect of seeking re-election has been a given for most modern presidents, that's not always been the case for Biden. A notable swath of Democratic voters has indicated they would prefer he not run, in part because of his age. And not policy? Okay. Biden has called those concerns totally legitimate, but he did not address the issue head-on in his launch video. Yet few things have unified Democratic voters like the prospect of Trump returning to power, and Biden's political standing within his party stabilized after Democrats notched a stronger than expected performance in last year's midterm elections, which actually were very abysmal, by the way, for midterm. But anyway, the president is set to run again on the same themes that buoyed his party last fall, particularly on preserving access to abortion, which again,
They
as
could
I
have
said,
codified. They could have done that anytime. Yes. Oh,
so
terrible.
as I said, I'm being calm right now, but as I said, I can really rage at this or just start crying. Any thoughts so far, Reef?
Dude.
What?
Any thoughts so far? Before I continue with this,
just fucking buckle up for more stupidity,
Yeah.
And that's
Anyway,
pretty much it. So
let's continue.
Okay.
Here we go. As the contours of the campaign begin to take shape, Biden plans to run on his record. Okay. He spent the first 2 years as president combating the coronavirus pandemic and pushing through major bills such as the bipartisan infrastructure package and legislation to promote high-tech manufacturing and climate measures, which we all know is shit.
Yep.
But the president also has multiple policy goals and unmet promises from his first campaign that he's asking voters to give him another chance to fulfill. So I'm actually going to go into this for student loans.
Yeah.
So just buckle up for that.
Yep.
Let's finish this job. I know we can, Biden said in the video, repeating a mantra he said a dozen times during his State of the Union address in February.
And before the camera rolled and over again so he could actually say it and not seem incoherent babbling. So,
right.
Yes.
Vice President Kamala Harris, who is featured prominently alongside Biden in the video, held a political rally at Howard in Washington yesterday evening.
Fucking sounded drunk.
She probably was drunk or on some kind of meds.
That was what we heard earlier. I think it was the macro and the micro and the future and the past.
Yesterday evening, in support of abortion access, kicking off her own efforts to support the re-election effort. Saying she's proud to run for re-election with President Joe Biden, Harris added, "Our hard-won freedoms are under attack, and this is a moment for us to stand and fight." In the video, Biden speaks over brief clips and photographs of key moments in his presidency, snapshots of diverse Americans, and flashes of outspoken Republican foes, including Trump, DeSantis, and Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia. He exhorted supporters that this is our moment to defend democracy. Stand up for our personal freedoms, stand up for the right to vote and our civil rights. Biden also plans to point to his work over the past 2 years, shoring up American alliances, leading a global coalition to support Ukraine's defenses against Russia's invasion, and returning the U.S. to the Paris Climate Accord. But public support in the U.S. for Ukraine has softened in recent months, and some voters question the tens of billions of dollars in military and economic assistance flowing to Kyiv. The president also faces lingering criticism over his administration's chaotic 2021 withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Y'all forgot.
Remember that was the thing?
Mm-hmm.
Nearly after 20 years of war, which undercut the image of competence he aimed to portray, and he's the target of GOP attacks over his immigration and economic policies.
Which they should like.
I mean,
covered this as well.
Right. And they should, because not to, and again, we're not giving any credence to the Republican Party because we know they're way worse. That being said, Biden has capped or made worse a lot of these economic and immigration policies that the party has sworn that they're better at, in contrast to Republicans. And we have talked about this before. Anyway, as a candidate in 2020, Biden pitched voters on his familiarity with the halls of power in Washington and his relationships around the world. But even back then, he was acutely aware of voters' concerns about his age. No one gives a fuck about your age, dude. Everyone cares about what you're going to do. Look, I view myself as a bridge, not as anything else, Biden said in March 2020, as he campaigned in Michigan with younger Democrats, including Harris, Booker, and Whitmer. There's an entire generation of leaders you saw stand behind me. They're the future of this country. 3 years later, the president, now 80, Biden and allies say this time in office has demonstrated that he saw himself as more of a transformational than a transition.
Yeah. Also, I love Cory Booker coming to the rescue. Like, you know.
Okay. Still, many Democrats would prefer that Biden didn't run again. A recent poll from the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research shows just 47% of Democrats say they want him to seek a second term, up from 37% in February. And Biden's verbal and occasional physical stumbles have become fodder for critics trying to cast him as unfit for office.
You know the thing.
During a routine physical in February, Biden's physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, declared him healthy, vigorous, and fit to handle his White House responsibilities. Sure, he is. But hours after Biden's announcement, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre initially refused to say whether the president planned to serve all 8 years if elected to a second term. She later clarified by tweet that, I wanted to be sure that I didn't go into 2024 more than is appropriate under the law, but I can confirm that if reelected, POTUS would serve all 8 years. Aides acknowledged that while some in his party might prefer an alternative to Biden, there is anything but consensus within their diverse coalition on who that might be. And they insist that when Biden is compared with whomever the GOP nominates, Democrats and independents will rally around Biden. Right.
They might fuck around and find out.
Well, we could talk about that, but I don't know about that, honestly.
Oh, I'm just saying about compared to like they're saying that they're going to coalesce around Biden. Like they might need to check themselves before they wreck themselves.
Well, I'll say this now. I just feel like in general, people just feel they didn't have a choice. And I think Biden, and I'm sure you're gonna talk about this next segment, is basically creating so it gives the fear in people that there is no choice. And they're gonna just use Trump as the boogeyman once, assuming that it is Trump.
Well, that's what they're hoping. They're hoping that it's going to be Trump. Hoping.
Well, either him or DeSantis.
Either way, same difference. Like
but it's like DeSantis, Trump is the boogeyman, so you have to vote for us because, what's up, Jesse? Thank you for filling in that last week.
Yeah.
It's all, again, once based on fear and not of conviction of withholding your vote to get tangibles. Like, again, just the issue, like a lot of what the stuff they're talking about, especially in this article, is nothing economic, haven't mentioned anything economic or just kind of glazed over it to kind of give the illusion of, oh, we actually did shit.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, people feel it. People know what's going on. But again, it's the idea of like, oh, we're not going to have choice because Trump or DeSantis is just so bad that we can't do any worse than that.
I saw Keith Olbermann telling RFK today to like drop out, that we can't have this if we're going to beat Trump. No dissent. you know,
Right.
like unity, you know.
Yeah.
So, but
anyway, for now, the 76-year-old, he's only 76.
yep,
Ugh,
yep.
you could have fooled me. But
Conservatives.
is the favorite to emerge as the Republican nominee, creating the potential of a historic sequel to the bitterly fought 2020 campaign. But Trump faces significant holders of his own, including the designation of being the first former president to face criminal charges. Not going to be a thing.
Yeah.
The remaining GOP field is volatile, with DeSantis emerging as an early alternative to Trump. DeSantis' stature is also in question, however, amid questions about his readiness to campaign outside of his increasingly Republican-leaning state. To prevail again, now this is the key thing, and I think we really need to hit home on this. To prevail again, Biden will need the alliance of young voters and who else?
Black voters. You need them.
Particularly women.
And you ain't black.
Along with blue collar Midwesterners. Now, Reef.
Yeah. Same people Hillary lost to.
We talked about a certain event that happened in this region of the country.
Where they straight up poison people because of things the Biden, and they're still not doing anything about it to fix any of it. I mean, this could be like 8 different things, but
the argument that we have made and other people have made is that Biden did not go, has not mentioned it because he's already winning enough as a red state, so he wasn't going to win it anyway. Where I thought he mentioned that he was a president for all people and he was trying to.
But that's who he needs. That's who he needs. He needs that.
Right.
So we'll see how he panders to that. That's what you're going to find. How will he do that, you think? How will he do that and get young voters and black voters? That's going to be tough.
Right.
Good luck.
Moderates and disaffected Republicans who helped him win in 2020. He'll have to again carry the so-called blue wall in the upper Midwest while protecting his position in Georgia and Arizona, longtime GOP strongholds he narrowly won last time.
Bullshit.
Biden spoke Tuesday with Democratic governors about his re-election plans. While aides and allies briefed key political groups, grassroots organizers, and state party officials on strategy, the campaign said. The president was set to huddle later this week in Washington with prominent party donors. Biden's re-election bid comes as the nation weathers uncertain economic crosscurrents. Inflation is ticking. No, it's not. After hitting the highest rate in a generation, but unemployment is at a 50-year low, and the economy is showing signs of resilience despite Federal Reserve interest rate hikes. If voters let Biden finish the job, inflation will continue to skyrocket, crime rates will rise, more fentanyl will cross our open borders, children will continue to be left behind, and American families will be worse off, Republican National Committee Chair Ronald McDaniel said in a statement. Presidents typically try to delay their re-election announcements to maintain the advantages of incumbency and skate above the political fray for as long as possible while their rivals trade jabs. But a leg up offered by being in the White House can be rickety. 3 of the last second presidents have lost re-election, most recently Trump in 2020. Biden's announcement is roughly consistent with the timeline followed by then President Barack Obama, who waited until April 2011 to declare for a second term and didn't hold a re-election rally until May 2012. Trump launched his re-election bid on the day he was sworn in 2017.
Yep.
So, as you pulled for me,
we got
last night.
Got Rolling Stone. I'm in to do what I can make sure that the president is reelected. This is Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is here. Just start putting it in for the shoving stack for Biden.
To go back to that tweet a second, and I said this by tweet yesterday. I appreciate him not running a campaign in order to sheepdog us to Biden later. Thank you for not wasting our time on that.
Yeah.
But that being said, the fact that Marianne Williamson, as much issues that we have with her, is probably more closely aligned to Bernie in regards to ideology and policy, not going for her. So he's doing what is safe because now he's very comfortable. He's probably close to retirement and he doesn't want to fuck his money up. So, he's going to be a good little boy and do what he's supposed to do until that time comes. And then he will just walk away with a boatload of cash. He has a new book out and people are still going to love him regardless. And there are already people who are saying that he is not a sellout and a fake and all of that. But, you're once again voting for the person that is very much against you on pretty much every ideological policy that you could possibly imagine. So fuck you, Bernie. Appreciate you taking this stance right now. You just showed what a cuck you really are. So thank you for that.
Robert Durden, Joe Biden announced his run for president yesterday. Bernie immediately endorses today. It's just literally a day. That's all it took, right? David Moss on Twitter. Bernie the new Bernie faster than he Bernied himself. Bernie? Question mark? So here's Nick of Revolutionary Blackout Network, who I think is on now with Jose Vega.
Yes.
My meme was true. Bernie Sanders just endorsed Biden. Dude couldn't fucking wait. Haha. Live footage of Bernie Sanders rushing to endorse Joe Biden again. So yeah, he nailed that.
Yeah. But you got this, which I think Tara hit the nail on the head.
Sums it
this
up
is
real well.
Very well. And I love her for saying this.
Yep.
And she says, Joe Biden announced he's running for president today for 2024. Someone asked me how I felt. How would you feel? My monster is now America's monster. This is the year not to vote blue no matter who. And to the other candidates running that may not win, if you end up endorsing Joe Biden just to hold power, that will put you on the wrong side of history forever.
And you probably were already there already. So,
So buckle up for what will be a very long, tiresome, and honestly depressing. The next year and a half is going to be something. So, as I said, I had no pleasure in doing this. I watched the ad yesterday, and
you're like, oh, I hate it. Hated it.
Literally, it was literally just like I can't. I couldn't.
Come on, man.
And
give me a little break here.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
and especially,
but it gets worse.
Oh, it gets much worse.
But at least for this, it's kind of like a "we told you so" moment.
Yep.
That we warned people about. That people were like, "Nah, whatever. It was not going to happen." But
y'all are gonna like the way you look on this one.
But just to kind of show how Biden is really
like full of delicious petty vitamins for us. I love it so much.
Yeah.